Three whiskey brands have started to gain a cult-like following for constantly pushing the envelope and challenging everything we think we already know about whiskey. For a process that is so historically significant and built on tradition, this is not an easy thing to do. So today we're going to be going over three whiskey brands that are turning the industry upside down, why they are going to explode in 2024, and finally, what mystical alchemy propels these whiskey brands into a realm of distinction that only few have dared to do before. In other words, what makes them great? But before we get into that, let's talk about why I only picked three whiskey brands when it seems like there are so many exciting companies going into 2024. Well, there once was a boy named Alex. And one day, Alex and his dad ventured off into an ice cream shop. When they entered, Alex screamed and said, "Dad, I want it all." And so that's what he got. He got one of everything. When they sat down, his dad had his humble ice cream bowl of cookies and cream with a little bit of fudge sauce on top, and Alex had one of everything. Alex took a bite and he spit it out. He said, This is terrible. Why is this so bad?" And his dad said, "Try mine, son." And so he tried it. And Alex screamed, "This is the best ice cream I've ever had." And Alex's dad chuckled and he said, "Son, life is not about having everything. It's about finding what you love most and building your life around that. So, son, if you're ever gonna make a whiskey YouTube video about whiskey brands that are gonna explode in 2024, make sure you only do three." So who are these whiskey brands? Well, let's start with the first. This first distiller is based out of Alabama, but actually has distilling roots back into Switzerland in 1867. Although the Swiss version is not whiskey, it is actually Kirsch, which is a liqueur. So what makes this company stand out? Well, I believe it is their attention to detail. Well, for starters, they start with a conventional non-GMO corn seed that they plant in the fertile soils of Alabama. And then from harvest to distillation, their cleanliness and standard of operation is at a league above other distilleries. And then once they barrel these whiskeys into new charred oak, the Alabama heat and humidity amplifies that speed of aging. The result is an intense, rich, sweet, oily bourbon that is unlike anything else. In a short 2 to 5 years, their bourbon truly tastes like a 6 to 10-year-old whiskey, or even more at times in Kentucky. Now, the reason I think they're going to explode in 2024 is because word is getting out about these guys. As a member of several small and large whiskey groups, this is one of the most talked about whiskey brands by a long shot. They also have a great barrel pick program, and everybody who already loves what they're doing is eager to secure one of every single barrel pick they do. So based on those clues, some of you might know who I'm talking about, but some of you might be learning right now that the guys who are doing this amazing work is Dettling. I highly recommend you check these guys out. Now, this next distiller is making big waves in the industry. They've only been around for about 10 years, but they had the balls to break ground in the most competitive bourbon market in the world, Kentucky. With plenty of funding, they created a modern, one-of-a-kind destination experience distillery. Now, like many new whiskey brands start, these guys started out by buying aged barrels of whiskey all throughout the US, blending them into their own blends and concoctions, and then rebottling those and selling that. And thanks to their blending skills, it did not take long before these guys were gaining a reputation for putting out amazing whiskey. But as of last year, we finally get to drink their own 6-year aged distillate. This included a high wheat bourbon, a high rye bourbon, and a rye. Now, the reason I am so bullish on this company in 2024 is because of what they've already been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. It seems like almost everything these guys touch is greatness. Also, this happens to be their 10th year anniversary, so I'm hoping that they put out something special this year. We all know whiskey brands love anniversaries. So maybe some of you figured it out already, but this company is gonna be Bardstown Bourbon Company. A favorite on this channel, and there's a reason you guys keep hearing me talk about them. All right, on to the final pick. Now, these last two brands hit all the boxes, but this next one is my personal favorite that I am most excited to share today. And I believe it is truly in a league of its own. This company is taking a completely different approach to whiskey, and it's venturing into a part of the world that many are scared to venture into, and that is Canada. Now, these guys are not sourcing 80 proof Crown Royal. No. They are finding 8 to 30-year-old, highly aged, single grain Canadian whiskeys. And I'm not talking single grain in the sense of Scotch or Irish, you know, the definitions of what that means. I'm talking 100% corn or 100% rye. That is how a lot of Canadian whiskey is made, is with a single grain. What this does is it gives all the power to the blender. So they age them separately, and then they buy all the barrels, and then they're able to create essentially their own mash bill. But these guys are taking a different approach and taking it one step further. After creating that mash bill with the already aged whiskeys, they are doing a secondary aging process from 3 to 12 months. They're doing this in all sorts of fancy casks such as ex-cognac, sherry, Madeira, all sorts of things. And when they do that secondary aging, they actually split it up into different barrels. Example, one sherry, one Madeira, etc. Then after that secondary aging, they do a highly technical blending process with the assortment of casks that they finished in, and that is the final whiskey. With their first and second release, they both received double golds at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. And with every release, they have gotten better. Truly is taking bourbon drinkers and slightly bringing us out of our comfort zone into an area that we have never explored before. So, who am I talking about? Well, they actually happen to be right behind me here. That is going to be Found North. Now, unfortunately, for every great bottle like the ones I talked about today, there are bad bottles, and that's why I think you need to check out this video right here to learn about 5 whiskeys you should avoid.